is the difference between ego and self-worth? Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about a very interesting area of my work as a coach, because as a coach, I'm involved with coaching a wide range of people, oftentimes entrepreneurs, CEOs, people in leadership and management positions in corporate organizations. And I come across this area of the difference between ego and self-worth. And let me ask you, have you ever worked for somebody with a massive ego? Have you had a boss that is that has had a massive ego? Or have you had a team member or a colleague that's had quite a big ego? Have you got a big ego, right? Has somebody in your family got a big ego? And the thing about big egos is it is very difficult for the people around somebody with, an overinflated ego to sort of work with them. And I often find this in the corporate world and within certain teams, that the team are very, very disengaged by a leader that has an overbearing ego. And the reason for that is because there are so many things that a big ego doesn't allow you to do. And one of those things is, a big ego doesn't allow you, for example, to be open to learning, because, you've got such an ego that nobody can actually tell you anything. Nobody can actually say to you, here's what we should do. Here's a better way of doing something. You're not open to that because your ego is too big. The other thing is that many times I find that certain leaders and certain managers, they're not open to feedback because it hurts their ego, right? You can't give them any type of feedback, nor are they open to learning. So there are massive barriers that a big ego can create, and it's a very negative thing. And there are so many interpersonal conflicts that occur as a result of egos getting away. It's an ego clash, right? It creates a barrier in terms of communication, not only a barrier in terms of learning, receiving feedback, but also in terms of communication, because you just can't, you can't get through to the person. There's that saying that, oh, his ego or her ego got hurt. Your ego got hurt. You see somebody else progressing, or you see somebody going ahead in the career or in life, and you feel jealous. And the reason is because your ego is hurt by something, right? And it's such a barrier, and it's such a negative thing, and it happens in businesses, it happens in corporations, and it happens in families, right? This ego gets in the way of progress, it gets in the way of development, of learning, and of communication. The opposite to ego is self-worth, genuine self-worth. And self-worth is a much more rooted sense of self. It's much more internal, right? It comes from knowing yourself, and it comes from being congruent as a person. And when you have genuine self-worth, the great thing is you are open to feedback, you are open to learning, and you don't get offended as easily. Your ego doesn't get hurt. You're okay with, even if somebody says something to you or gives you some feedback, or in whatever way, you are actually secure within yourself. You have a high self-worth that allows you to take on that feedback. And it's a very it's a very rooted and grounded position to actually be in, and it's fantastic because it allows you to be humble. Very, very different to being a big ego. And I think the two underlying things, between the two, between ego and self-worth, is what underlies them. Because underlying a big ego is often insecurity. Somebody with a big ego might actually consciously or subconsciously be quite an insecure person inside. That's why they're compensating with, just being a brash, being this big ego, but really they're hiding an inner sense of maybe insecurity, right? Oftentimes it could be that, this big obnoxious ego has come about through somebody not actually liking themselves. At a deep level, they're not comfortable with themselves, and that has actually manifested itself in them being just this egocentric person. But deep down, they don't really like themselves. And people that don't like themselves create havoc. They create havoc for teams, organizations, and families. Right? It's the same of any aspect of life that you look at. The ego is something that really, really gets in the way. Whereas the opposite of that is a person with high self-worth, high self-esteem, right? And underlying high self-worth and high self-esteem is knowing yourself, right? Really, really knowing yourself at a deeper level and being very, very secure within yourself. And that comes through congruence. That comes through where our thoughts and our words and our actions, they're all aligned, and we feel good about ourselves. We have accepted ourselves, the good and the bad, and we are secure within our own skin. And you can have high self-worth, and then you can be much more easier to get along with. You can be humble, you can be open to learning, and it's a fantastic position to be in. So I think it's very, very important for us to move ourselves in our lives from, our ego towards genuine self-worth. And that journey is a journey of introspection. It's a journey of accepting ourselves at a deeper level. And when we do that, we can communicate with others better. There's less interpersonal conflict because the ego doesn't get in the way. We are humble and open to learning, and we can take on feedback. So there are many, many benefits to developing a character of high self-worth, and it's a massive area, and it's something that I really delve into in my coaching and training sessions. But I just wanted to share this idea with you of the difference between ego and self-worth. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, like. See you soon.